Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this session on where we'll talk about the top reasons of getting one of the most recognized project management certification from PMI, which is PMP Certification. First of all, I'd like to thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedule and attending this webinar. To talk about myself, my background, I have been in the project management domain from the past 15 years. I have worked across various industry verticals, IT, oil and gas, product development, and consulting organizations. About my academics, I am a PMP certified from PMI, Prince 2 practitioner certified from Exelos, ITL Foundation certified, Microsoft certified trainer, and I have handled projects related to business process reengineering, product development, oil and gas, construction projects, IT projects. I also do train people on project management, on PMP, on Prince2, on ITIL and Microsoft and Oracle Primavera. I've trained more than 3,000 professionals across the globe in project management. So to talk about this session, here we'll talk about the top reasons of getting one of the most recognized certification, which is PMP. And this session has been divided into various agenda, which I'll just display it on screen. So the agenda of this webinar would be to talk about project management certification in general, the global view towards project management certification, why you should consider a certification, especially if you're in the project management domain or if you want to get into the project management domain, and obviously talk about the reasons of getting the certification PMP. There are various other certifications on project management, and PMP, if you see, is one of the most sought after, most talked after certification in the project management domain. We'll talk about the reasons to get PMP certified. Then I'll briefly touch upon the eligibility to get yourself PMP certified. And then we can have a question answer round. If you have any questions related to the webinar, any project management certification related questions, you can just write it down in the questions panel that you have on your screen. After we end the session, this session will be total of around 45 minutes, and then we'll have around 15 minutes question answer round where you can just type the questions in the question panel, and I would be glad to answer that. So to start off with, we'll start off talking about the basic generic view, global view on project management, which people, organization have nowadays. For every individual, whosoever is in the project management domain, IT, ITS, construction, in non-project management also, uh, they have a point in their career when they want to decide what is the next step forward, whether I should move from technical to management segment of the industry, or to grow ahead, what sort of certification should I go for, or what should be the next step in the career. That point is faced by everyone whosoever is a professional and wants to grow. And one certification which has remained in the organization's radar as one of the most as one of the important skill set, as one of the important credentials which has remained in organization's view is project management. They also consider project management because not only to deliver projects but also to stay competitive in this chaotic global economy, and obviously to deliver business results to the clients for which they are working. And if you look at the various surveys, you would see project management certification is nowadays considered. Look to various surveys, you will see that among top 10 certifications, project management certification has been there and will be there for the next around 20-25 years, till the time it becomes one of the mandatory discipline in an organization. And one of the report shows that 80% of the organizations believe that yes, project management should be considered as a core competency, especially to deliver business results, to deliver the project on time, on scope to the client. And another survey conducted by McKinsey shows that 60% of the senior executives say that building a strong project management discipline is their top among their top three priority, uh, as one of the company's goals to build a project management competency in their organization. And yes, once you read all these surveys, all these blogs, all these reports, a question comes to your mind. Is certification so much necessary, especially a project management certification? Is it so much necessary? Many people are into project management domain for 25, 30 years, but why certification is important? For this, I would just ask you to think what project management is about. Project management is a very logical way of doing a project, is a very stepwise way of doing a project. It talks about how you do a planning, how you maintain your schedules, budgets, scope, how you execute your project, how do you report, how do you control, track whether you are as per the plan or not. Basically, it helps you to deliver the project within the constraints, within the limitations, within the boundaries which your organization is working, or which among the contractual agreements that you have with your client to deliver your project within those constraints. Now, yes, another question which keeps striking our mind as a professional: will certification make me a better project manager? So, certification alone cannot make a good project manager, but yes, it is one of the key things that takes you towards being an effective project manager. It is one of the key ingredients to be an effective project manager. And the three main pillars of an effective project manager, obviously, he should have knowledge about project management, he should have knowledge about the industry in which he is working, the technical and the management knowledge. And having knowledge is not only enough, he has to perform by applying those knowledge in real time environment. And since project is not about doing a job alone, it is working with a team. One should have those interpersonal skills, those personal attitude should be right, how he motivates his team, how he manages his team, how he takes decisions, how he does negotiations, how he has awareness of the various political and cultural environment of the organization, outside the organization, which is impacting on the project. And these three things makes a manager an effective manager, an effective project manager. And yes, as I said, certification is one of the key ingredients achieving these three. To achieve these three, one should go for a certification. And one of the most sought after certification in project management nowadays is PMP. Look at various surveys. Just Google, search in Google among top 10 certifications. You will see PMP among top 4. And it has been there from the past 10 years and it will remain there for a long, long time. Until as all the organizations are matured enough and it becomes a mandatory discipline. It will remain, it will keep growing. And one of the reports which PMI has conducted, it has shown that India and China will be the topmost market for certified project managers. And the benefits that these certifications provide you are manifold. I have just consolidated them among them the most top 10 reasons, top 10 benefits that a certified project manager gets, and which I'm going to display to you now. So one of the major benefits of getting a certification, and one of the top reasons, is certification shows your commitment to the profession of project management. PMP project managers, once you become PMP, it means that you have spent time, effort to go through the rigorous process of the exam, give the exam, and ultimately pass it. It basically shows your commitment towards the profession. even if you don't plan to be a project manager throughout your life, it shows that you have the understanding of the profession and you show your commitment towards it, and you go through the rigorous process and ultimately achieve the certification. It shows your commitment towards the profession. Plus, you also ensure that not only you are following, once you are a certified project manager, it's not only about you following those practices, you also ensure that you being a champion in project management, you ensure that your project team is also following that practice and ultimately adding value to this profession. You ensure that your team follows these standard practices. This is one of the reasons why you should go for PMP certification. Then, obviously, if I talk from the individual perspective, it adds to the knowledge, the skills, and the abilities as a project manager. These certifications obviously talks about various standards, tools, techniques, processes, plans, documents, charters, registers, which obviously can be used in the real-time project environment. And yes, using those standards, using those processes, using those tools, templates, using those plans, using those documents in my real project obviously helps me in delivering the project within the defined constraint of scope, time, and cost. And chances are that I will deliver a favorable result. And to get PMP certification, it's not only about just going through the exam, one also has to have certain years of project management experience. This certification is actually a stamp on that experience. That yes, you have the project management experience, and now it has been stamped by your body, PMI, that you are following the standard practices. And yes, if you are a project manager of of a project, chances of delivering it within the defined constraints would be high. So that is another reason which makes PMP certification as one of the most sought after certification across the globe. Another reason is that it shows your achievement. These credentials show that you have demonstrated excellence in the field of meeting standard requirements established by the practitioners, established by these bodies, and going through these rigorous process, as I said, obviously means that you have achieved one of the top 10 certifications across the globe, and it is not an easy job to do. It shows a sense of achievement. It is just not that you one day you wake up and you say that yes, I want to do PMP certification and you can do it. It's a rigorous process. One has to go through proper formal training, proper formal education, dedicated study hours, and yes, understand the subject very clearly. The exam itself is not asking you a very bookish kind of question. They will put you into scenarios and they will ask you what to do as a project manager. So until unless you know the concept, know the standard very well, very thoroughly, and you have that experience of actually applying those, clearing this is a difficult job. So it shows an achievement once you clear the PMP certification, once you achieve this. And one of the most important thing that you get as a certified PMP manager is better earnings than a non-certified manager. And various surveys, if you see, various reports, if you see, you go to various job sites, you will see that at least there is a difference of 6 to 10,000 per year between a certified PMP and non-certified PMP managers. Their skill set might be same, but just that certification makes a difference. There will be surveys which will show that a person is earning 10 to 15% more than non-certified, and PMI salary survey shows that yes, there is a difference of not less than 6,000 to $10,000 per year when it comes to remuneration of a PMP certified manager and a non-certified manager. The difference is quite glaring, and yes, this is why as an individual also we should look to get PMP certification. Yes, experience is there, but this certification will show to the employer that yes, you have a stamp on your, you have a authorization on your basically experience. And along with better earnings, there are better job opportunities as well, which PMP certification brings in, which will provide you better job opportunities across the globe. To do this, I'll just ask you all to just when you go through complete this webinar, I would ask you all to just log into any of the job sites and look for the project management jobs that are available. All the jobs which look for project managers, IT managers, construction managers, engineering heads, they all look for PMP certification as one of the desired skill set nowadays. You go to US, this is one of the mandatory certification you should have if you are landing up in the project management job. And what's more, this credential will help you to get an job easily. This is organizations are nowadays searching. When they search with this keyword PMP certified. So yes, this enhances your chances of getting a better job in and outside India also. Many organizations have made it a mandatory requirement when you have to grow within the levels within your organization only. If I talk about organizations like IBM, Infosys, L&T, this is one of the mandatory skill set one should have if he or she is getting into a project manager role. So yes, as an individual, this is another reason which should push me to get PMP certification. And not only better job opportunities, it also enhances your job responsibilities within the organization itself. It gives you tools to draw upon when needed. It gives you various processes which you can follow to ensure that you deliver favorable results. And having gone through all the study and hard work, you have mastered basically a new concept, a new knowledge, and you can put that into practice, obviously, to deliver results, to deliver business values. And yes, as you're going through the process, you are aware of the latest tools, technologies, terminologies, lexicon of project management, which have been applied across the globe, across various industries, which you can also apply in your project. And it also enhances one's skill and knowledge. As a project manager, as a project management professional, the first and foremost thing we should always look for is to enhance our skill and knowledge in this domain. Keep on constantly upgrading our knowledge, keep on constantly learning, keep on constantly applying, upgrading, becoming more and more effective day by day. And these certification itself, if you see, this certification also gets updated after every 3 4 years. These gets updated. How do they get updated? They do surveys of various project managers, their roles, their typical job responsibilities across different organization, and they keep on upgrading this standard also. It is not a static kind of knowledge where yes, there is a standard manual and yes, you keep on studying that only. No, it keeps on getting upgraded, and PMI does it at least 3 to 4 years. Every 3 to 4 years they update. Even now it is going through an update. By November 1st, it will get updated where more additional responsibilities as a job project manager have been added. And this PMI does by studying various projects across the globe. They don't do it sitting within their organization. They study projects, they interview experts, they talk to experts, subject matter experts, who gives them valuable inputs on what exactly the role as a project management is moving into. And those skills are upgraded within the standards. So once you go through the certification, it shows that you are at par with the current standard. You are aware of the current standards which are being followed, and that obviously enhances your skills, your knowledge, and make you an effective project manager. It's not only about certification, it's about being effective. And once you're recognized as a certified project manager, you get the self-confidence to deliver results. You know that you are not doing things on an ad hoc basis. What you do is a very planned, what you do things is in a very planned way, in a very structured way. And yes, you get that self-confidence that yes, you can deliver the results within the defined constraints. A certification gives you confidence that you have passed through the chairs when you have set your sights on a goal, put together a plan, worked hard, and you have reached it. You gain confidence over this period of entire process, which obviously will reflect in all the aspects of your life. Whenever you do a project as a certified project manager, your approach towards that becomes totally different when you're doing the same project as a non-certified manager. You tend to do things in a very structured way. You take into account all the risks that could affect your project and basically throw your project off track. And this certification helps you do that. And as you go through this process, as you gain the certification, as you apply it in your project environment, you are getting recognized among your peers, among your bosses, among other organizations that yes, this person has dedicated his time, effort to go through this process and earn the certification. And he has taken that extra step, which many people actually, yes, many people decide that yes, we need to do PMP, but how many does it actually at the end of the day? This taking this step itself is a big thing. And yes, once you get the certification, there is a sense of achievement. You are recognized among your peers that you have taken the step and you have fulfilled it. You have completed it. It establishes you as a continuous learner. And employers are always looking for people who never want to stop learning. As I said earlier, it is not about just staying static. The certification also doesn't remain static. The standard also doesn't remain static. It keeps on constantly evolving. And as a person who has become PMP certified, you also continuously learn. You do not stop. And learning itself is a value in itself. And those around you will admire it, will try to follow you. And you also ensure, as I said earlier, that you being a certification is not only about doing my job alone. It's also ensuring that my team, my co-workers, my peers follow that. So actually it spills down, it reflects within the organization, within your peers, within your team, and that itself motivates people to do it, motivates organizations to follow it, and ultimately the result is that you deliver value, you deliver results. And yes, PMP certification enhances your profession. PMP certification program promotes practitioners and supports ongoing professional development because you must work through various situations you may not be familiar with in your own work environment. You will gain experience in how to solve complex and diverse project problems. You can be a better mentor. The ability to mentor is based greatly on experience, but the best mentors can reach beyond their experience. They are able to extrapolate from their experience and relate it to someone else's entirely different experience. So you can coach, you can mentor, you can transfer your knowledge to your team, your co-workers, your peers, and it's from an individual effectiveness, it becomes a group effective, a very effective group working towards an initiative. And when a group works towards an initiative in a very effective manner to deliver results, to deliver the values, to deliver the objectives within the defined constraints, chances of doing that are very, very high. So these are some of the benefits which should push an individual to gain PMP certification. And if you are in that point of time of your career where you are planning to decide whether to go for it or not, few facts which should help you to do that is PMP, if you search, is among the top 10 certifications across the globe. PMP certified managers earn at least 10 to 15% more annually than a non-certified manager, and in some industries it would be more than that. PMP certified managers are the most sought after managers when it comes to project management domain. There are other certifications also, but if I do a global recognition of it, PMP is a certification which is recognized globally. And if I divide the world into percentage, you will see 75% of the world is more about PMP certification, following PMP certification, wanting people to be PMP certified and looking for PMP certified managers. And this profession is going to grow. The demand for PMP certified managers is going to grow. So yes, this is the right time when you should go for PMP certification and give a stamp to your career that yes, you are PMI certified, PMP certified, achieve that level, achieve one of the top most certification of the globe, and try put that into practice in your day-to-day project environment. Now, as we are talking about PMP certification, questions might come in your mind that what is the typical qualification criteria of PMP certification? How is the exam based? On what standard are the exam based? How on which things are you tested on? So these questions keep on striking our mind. So to talk about the eligibility, I'll just quickly run you through the eligibility requirements of PMP certification. To become eligible for PMP certification, as I said, you basically have to have project management experience. Now, how many years of experience you would need depends on your educational background. If you are a graduate holder or a 4-year degree, or what you have the 3 years degree courses you have done, BCom, BSc, BTech, BBA, all those courses you have done, full-time courses from a recognized university. Yes, the number of years of experience you have to show is 36 months, which typically is 3 years of experience. And your project management experience out of that should be 4,500. So 4,500 again boils down to around 3 years only. So now you might ask that how will you show these 4,500 hours as your experience? And it is hardly possible that a person is involved in the entire project life cycle throughout. So PMI also understands this. The number of hours that they have quoted, 4,500 hours, has to be your overall project management experience. And how it is divided? It is divided among the domains. The domains are initiating, planning, executing, monitoring, controlling, and closing. Across these 5 domains, your total project management experience should be 4,500. It is not necessary that you have to have experience in a single project across these domains. You can show 5, 6 projects, and overall experience should cover number of hours experience in these domains. Not necessarily in one, but overall experience should cover these 5 domains. And if your education background is a diploma degree, then it's not 4,500 years, 4,500 hours of experience. What you have to show is 7,500 hours of project experience, which is typically 60 months, around 5 years project management experience you have to show. Again, across those 5 domains, which is initiating, planning, executing, monitoring, controlling, and closing. 5 domains, you have to show experience on those 5 domains. Overall experience should cover these 5 domains. And apart from your education, your experience, one has to go through a formal project management education also, which is for 35 hours. You have to go through a training on project management before you can qualify for the PMP certification exam. And KnowledgeWoods does these trainings, PMP, which you can enroll for. There are classroom programs, e-learning programs, live learnings, and depending on your location or availability, you can pick the dates, you can pick the mode of training, and you can complete these trainings. Training is not only required to fulfill these mandatory 35 contact hours formal education requirement, it is also required because this certification, as I said, is not easy. It is going to test you on your analytical and evaluation skills, on your application skills of project management knowledge. So going through these trainings is necessary if you are looking to pass the examination in the first attempt. So once you complete these three requirements, your education, your project management experience, and the education, you get into PMI website, pmi.org, www.pmi.org. Submit your application, fill all the details of your education, experience, and the training that you have done, and submit your application. After you have submitted the application, PMI typically reviews it for 4 or 5 days, business days. And after they have reviewed, they'll ask you for a payment. After you make the payment, they might or they might select your application for audit. Audit is generally done on a random basis. They might select any application on audit. Once your application is selected for audit, all those experience that you have shown has to be verified by one of your managers or supervisors or client that yes, the experience that you have shown documented are correct and there is no false information. But that is required only if your application gets selected for audit. If it is not selected for audit, they will ask you to schedule your exam, and exams are conducted at Prometric centers. Prometric centers are there across the globe. You just get online into prometric.com, pick the date, pick the slot, pick the location where you want to give the exam, and block the exam date, and go ahead and give the exam. So this is the typical process, eligibility required to one to go for PMP certification. About the fees, there are two ways of giving the exam. That is as a member, as a non-member. As a member, to take the membership first, you need to again log into pmi.org. The fees for that is 129 plus $10, which is $139 initially you have to pay. And then the examination fee as a member becomes 405. So if I add 405 plus 139, it typically comes to $544. And you can give the exam as a non-member also, but in that case you have to pay more, which is $555. So all these details you can get it from PMI's website, or you can get in touch with KnowledgeWoods. I'll share an email ID and they will let you know all the process one has to go through to get PMP certification, the fee details, process, documentation, application, every details they can help you with. Now, question that should come in your mind is, how is this exam structured? How is this, on what skills will this exam test you on? What are the domains on which these exams are based? So, as you show your experience in initiating, planning, executing, monitoring, controlling, and closing, this concept of 5 domains actually has come from the basic concept of start, plan, do, check, act, and close cycle, PDCA cycle, which we call it, the famous PDCA cycle, which we apply it in every domain, let it be quality, project management, IT, software development, product development, construction. We apply this concept everywhere, PDCA cycle, which was brought about by Deming. It was popularized by Deming. And based on that concept, these 5 domains of project management are there: initiating, planning, executing, monitoring, controlling, and closing. You'll be tested across these 5 domains. There will be questions based on these 5 domains. These 5 domains are again further subdivided into processes. Initiating is divided into few processes, planning is divided into few processes, and so executing, monitoring, controlling, and closing are divided into processes. There are total 47 processes in total on which you will be tested on. But will they test you on the bookish language of these processes? The answer is no. They will test you on the application part of these processes. That how do you apply these? How do you evaluate situations? How do you read situations and take the appropriate step? That is how this exam is based, and that is what they will test you on. They will give you different scenarios, and based on that scenario, what could be the best solution according to you. So there will be around 200 questions in the exam, And these 200 questions all are multiple choice questions, out of which one option is a correct option, and you have to select the correct one. Most of the time you will see that out of 4 options, 2 are very close, and you're not able to decide which one is correct or which one is wrong. In these cases, the 2 options which are close, both of them are right. They are not wrong, but you have to select the best approach. That according to the situation, what is the best approach? So that's why reading the situation, analyzing the situation, and applying the appropriate step is what they test you on. They don't test you on any bookish language. If you read various blogs which says that there will be questions on definition, there will be question on inputs, outputs, no, the exam is not based on that. The exam is also evolving. They test you very much on the application part, how you apply your project management knowledge. And that is what, again, the training, the formal project management training becomes very, very important, because these trainings are typically based with an objective to clear PMP certification exam, to help you to clear the exam. And it's typically the 4 days program which one goes through, and one goes through the rigorous process of reading the subject, doing exercises, assessment tests, and applying the knowledge in different situations, which basically prepares you for the real exam. So again, the importance of training is very, very important. I have hardly seen any people who have done self-study and passed this exam. It is very, very difficult to do that, because these trainings are done by experts who have gone through this process, who knows the type of questions that you can expect, the type of skill set that is demanded during the exam, and what could be the typical kind of questions that you can get, and ultimately pass the exam at your first attempt. Obviously, that is the objective which everybody has in mind, that yes, one has to clear it in the very first attempt. So this is a brief overview of the the eligibility requirements and how the examination is based on, and some of the benefits of the certification, which which should push a person to go for the certification. Now, as I said, remember that PMP certification, there are other certifications also in project management, and PMP is one of the most recognized among all of them. You just search in Google about, just type the line top 10 certifications, and you'll see various surveys done by McKinsey, CIO, and various other consulting organizations, survey organizations, which have recognized project management as one of the most important skill set which organizations are looking for, which organizations wants to imbibe in their project managers. And yes, the way of doing it is through a certification, through the application of knowledge that they get through these certifications. Various clients also want their uh, pr- uh, projects to be handled by certified PMPs, not by non-certified. So this is where the organizations, their mindset is moving towards. And apart from meeting these demands, PMP also helps one to enhance their own skill set, their own knowledge, their own effectiveness that they can apply in their day-to-day work environment, and they can also promote it among their peers, among their colleagues, and ultimately deliver results in the project. So this is the overall view of PMP certification, benefits, experience, the pattern on which the exam is set, the domains on which will be tested. Now, I would throw this session now open, and you can all put forward your questions. There will be a question tab on your screen where you can just type your questions related to anything, how the exam is based, any questions you have in your mind, you can just throw up. So I see a question, a very interesting question from Mr. Mahesh Kumar. Will I be able to give PMP exam if I have worked on planning but not on execution? Now, to answer this question, as I said, this exam to give this exam, one has to show experience across the 5 domains: initiating, planning, executing, monitoring, controlling, and closing. In one project, I can show an initiating, another planning, another executing, another monitoring, controlling, and another closing. But my overall experience should have some hours in these 5 domains. So having overall experience in just one domain doesn't qualify me for the PMP examination. And if you typically see, it's not difficult, it's not possible that a project manager or a manager has not worked in initiating or executing. They do. It's just that you have to portray your experience in those domains. And everybody works with stakeholders. Stakeholders identification is a job which happens in initiating. So everybody does that. So if you just look back to your experience, you have definitely worked on that. But yes, your overall experience should have experience across these 5 domains. Not necessarily in one project, but yes, your overall should be covered in these should cover these 5 domains. Another question is that can we do the certification now or we need to wait till November? You can do the certification now, and I suggest you to do it now because the examination will be changing from November 1st onwards. And whenever there is a change, there will be new questions, which obviously you cannot find those type of questions in any books, in any trainings, in any reference materials, because the reference materials, the handbooks, the various books like Headfirst, Rita Malkai, they will also be able to update only once few exams are conducted in the new pattern. So until unless the new pattern is established, set, people know about it, I would suggest that yes, you should go ahead and give the examination before November. Another question is that how much time will it take to prepare for PMP? Assume 1 hour a day. Now see, PMP preparation, you basically have to do 3 tasks parallelly throughout your preparation period. The 3 tasks which you have to do parallel is read PMBOK, Guide to Project Management Body of Knowledge, on which PMP certification is based on, the standard on which it is based on. Go through that, go through the handbook, the study materials that you get from the training provider, like KnowledgeWoods will provide you certain handbooks, reference material, which you go through that. And yes, attempt at least 20 questions a day. So these 3 tasks have to be done every day. And I recommend that yes, if you have taken a training, try to give the exam within 40 to 45 days, because that is the best chance till which you retain all the knowledge gained during the program. And yes, that is the best chance of high probability is that you'll clear the exam in your very first attempt if you do it within time frame of 40 to 45 days. So to answer to your question, if you're just spending 1 hour a day, uh, you would take a longer period to give the exam. So I would suggest if you can just go a notch up and spend at least 2.5 to 3 hours a day, 2.5 hours studying plus attempting questions. Attempting questions is very important because this exam is time based. One has to not only answer the questions, but yes, he has to answer it within the defined time, which is 4 hours examination. And there will be 200 questions. You have to complete the exam within that. So it's recommended that you attempt questions throughout your every day throughout your entire preparation phase. So that will increase your efficiency. That will help you to know your weak areas, strong areas, plus will also help you to gain speed. Another question comes from Rekha Pandey, which is what type of question comes in the exam? Most of the questions you will see are scenario based. They will give you a case, and questions could be like what would be the next best step, or question could be a case where there is a problem and they could ask you what could have prevented the problem. These are the type of questions that you typically get, scenario based, and based on the scenario you have to answer. And as I said, whenever you get a scenario based question, you will see that yes, two options are very close. So in those cases, you have to select the best one. It's not that the other one is wrong, but yes, the correct one is the best one. Then, okay, the language, about the language, once you go through the preparation program, once you know the lexicon, once you know the terminologies, the language becomes easy. But without proper formal training, without proper going through the handbooks, reference materials, PMBOK, the language can be tough. So that's why I said that self preparation is not at all recommended. You go through a training where they will make you aware of the type of questions that you get, the kind of questions that you can expect of, and you actually do some tests during the program. Another question I have is, what is going to change from November in the exam? See, I'd like to clearly mention it, quote it here, that PMBOK is not changing. If you have in mind that PMBOK is going to change, it is not PMBOK change. It is just an update of the tasks that are there in the 5 domains. So few tasks have been added in initiating, few have been added in planning, and similarly across different domains. There is a slight shift in the percentage distribution of questions. A percent has been reduced from closing stage and has been added in execution stage. So these are some of the changes. We also have a next webinar on the changes on PMP exam that is happening in August first week. We have this webinar scheduled. So I would suggest if you could attend that webinar so that you will be able to know the exact changes, where I'll talk about the exact changes that is happening in the entire PMP exam pattern. But yes, PMBOK is not changing. It's just that tasks are getting updated. Then there is a question, should I read PMBOK or head first? Both are required. You have to read PMBOK. You have to read head first also. There are other handbooks also which you can refer, and but yes, one handbook and one head PMBOK is mandatory to read. Negative marking. One question from Mr. Ramesh is that, is there any negative marking? No, there is no negative marking. So that is the best part of this exam, that there is no negative marking. You can attempt all 200 questions. But yes, with this comes a catch. All 200 questions will not carry marks. There will be 25 questions which are called pre-test questions. They will not carry any marks. So the questions that will carry marks will be 175 out of 200, but you will not know those 25 unmarked questions. So you have to attempt all of them. Now, another question, how to choose out of the two answers. As I said, you have to select the best answer depending on the situation documented in the question. And again, I reiterate here the importance of a training. One has to go through a training, then only they will be able to know how to pick the right answers. What are the keywords that leads you to the right answers? One very important and very good question which I have from a gentleman is, would you recommend certification to someone, say one with system admin experience who has never managed a project? Now, to answer this, first I would ask you, do you want to remain in this skill set, or do you want to move towards the management segment of the domain? If you are planning to become a project manager, planning to lead a project, go into the management domain, PMP certification is recommended, and it's not only recommended, it's a must nowadays in many organizations. So I would recommend that yes, if you are planning to move from more core technical to a more management line, go ahead and do PMP certification. Then one gentleman has asked the difference between Prince 2 and PMP. The difference between them is both are based on best practices. PMP is a standard, which the standard is PMBOK, which is very descriptive, like it will document each and every process, how to do the process, what plans do you prepare, How do you prepare the plans? Everything is descriptive. Prince 2 is more of a methodology. They leave the tools and techniques to the users. Prince 2 and PMP has the difference also lies in their organization and the geographical location you are working on. If you are working for an organization which is Europe, UK based, you will find more of Prince 2. If you are looking for organizations in US, Canada, India, Saudi Arabia, you'll find more of PMP. And if I distribute the entire globe, it would be more 75% of the countries would be around PMP and 25 would be around Prince 2. Over a period of time, I would suggest as a project management professional, as I said, that yes, you keep constantly growing, but it's recommended that you get both the certifications. Start off with PMP and then you can get a Prince 2 certification. One question from Atul Rajput is how PMP identify an auditing process that project experience submitted is fair or unfair. It is on a random basis. They can pick any application on a random basis, and once you're applying your project manager experience, you have to document your manager's detail or your client's details for whom you have done the project or under whom you have done the project. And once they select for audit, it requires a manual signature from these people whose reference you have given. And PMI can get in touch directly with these people also to verify, cross-check your experience. So it's a random basis. So that's why always show experience which is correct and not any wrong information. Now, another question is that uh, how to distribute number of hours between knowledge areas. You do not have to distribute hours between knowledge areas. What you have to distribute hours is between the 5 domains: initiating, planning, executing, monitoring, controlling, and closing. To distribute hours, generally, if I talk about a typical project life cycle, execution would consist most of your effort. Initiating would be very less. Closing also would be very less. So most of your if I talk about your overall percentage-wise distribution, around 70 to 80% should go in planning, executing, and monitoring, controlling, and rest 20 to 25% could be in initiating and closing. That is the typical distribution of effort also that happens in a real project. So again, 70 to 75, up to 80 also you can consider in planning, executing, and monitoring, and rest 20-25% could be in initiating and closing. That is how you display your experience. And any help related to application, uh, what qualification, whether you qualify for PMP, if you want to get your resume verified, cross-check, you can get in touch with KnowledgeWoods. On your screen you can see an email ID, info@knowledgewoods.com, where you can just drop your request, your query related to experience, related to any other details that you'd like to know. Plus, I would also suggest that if you're planning to go for any PMP training, yes, there is a question from another gentleman that they are asking for PMP training of KnowledgeWoods. Yes, KnowledgeWoods do provide trainings in live training model, in e-learning model, and in classroom-based model also. So just check in which location you are in, if classroom is available or not, or else there are other two models which you can opt for. And for that also I'd request, there is an email ID on your screen which is info@knowledgeworks.com. You can just drop a query out there related to the training and you can get the training schedule based on your location. And any questions anybody you can have, you can just any further questions you have, my email ID is also there on the screen. You can drop any questions related to the subject you want to know and I would be glad to answer that. And this session would be also available to you. It's the recording of this session would also be available to you. So in future, if you want any reference from this webinar, you can again go back and go through the entire webinar again. Another question I have is, How much price from getting PMP training from KnowledgeWoods? For prices and everything, I would request you to, because I am a trainer, I do not have much knowledge about the pricing they charge per individual. Uh, so for that, I'll just request drop an email ID to info@knowledgewoods.com and they would show you the prices. Otherwise, the prices are there in the website also. www.knowledgewoods.com is the website where you can log in and find the prices. But to get more accurate quotes or prices, I would request you to get in touch with the respective salesperson of that organization, of that particular location, and those details you can get it if you just get into the website, and the mobile numbers region wise is also given, and you can directly get in touch with the salesperson and they will be the right person to give you information about the charges, about the training charges, location, venue, and all further details related to training. Any information you want related to the subject, even once you complete the training from KnowledgeWoods and you need any help from KnowledgeWoods related to subject, related to application, get in touch with us and we would be happy to help you. So with this, I would like to conclude the session. And again, thank you everyone for taking time out of your busy schedule and attending this webinar. I hope this have been fruitful. We have been able to provide you some fruitful information, which will obviously help you to take a decision in your career and move ahead. So thank you everyone.